Hello world, I'm just some guy, and this is my review of the Galco FancyStitch and Galco SB2 gun belts. As you can see, I'm wearing the Galco FancyStitch right now. I'll show it to you more later. I just want to say first of all, I don't have an SB2 on hand to review right now. I wore it for over years and then gave it to a friend who had no gear for that slot once I got the FancyStitch. Most of what I have to say about the FancyStitch is directly applicable and identical to the SB2 as well, other than the obvious differences of the dimensions of their design and appearance. That being said, let's get started. Take this off real quick. Here's my Leatherman pouch, not the subject of this review. Here is the Galco FancyStitch in all of its glory and splendor. As you can see, the stitching came very well done, very secure. It's held up extremely well, just like this Galco shoulder holster that I'm wearing. Basically no sign of use. There's some little tells, but it's 100% functional. Now, the difference between this and the SB2 is this is a 3.5 inch wide belt, so it offers more support. The SB2 would only come to about here. And one of the reasons it offers more support is there's just more leather there. It holds things closer and tighter to your body with less bobble and flop and twist and things like that. Now, another reason for this is the dimensions of the belt relative to the dimensions of the clip. Allow me to demonstrate. As you can see here, this is one of the bigger clips on my gear, on my flashlight pouch. Once we have that on the belt, you can see there is a fair amount of room and play, but still not very much. The gear doesn't go much of anywhere, and this is just about the biggest clip that I have. On more typical kinds of clips that you're going to find, like these on my Galco King Tuck, you will see that the dimensions of the clip and the dimensions of the belt are very, very close. These are more typical clips, and there's not a lot of room for movement or play between these. That translates into holding the gear closer and tighter with less bobble and flop more securely. Back when I was wearing the SB2 to hold that same exact Galco King Tuck type holster, there was a big upgrade to get this for the extra 1/2 inch of support that it offers. Not that the SB2 is bad, that was a major upgrade over just a big old thick tough leather belt that I had been using. Now as you can see, the stitching on this is all very well done. It came very secure. And it stayed secure. Held up very well, just like the shoulder holster that I'm wearing now. Still all good to go. You can see right about here, there's a spot in the belt that it formed to my iliac crest, where it slightly bows outwards about here, not very much though, just from holding the gun on the hip, still pretty close to its original dimensions. Now the stitching on this is cool, but I could see it getting a little bit fancier, a little bit more creative on something called the FancyStitch, but this is still pretty good. By the standards of a lot of stuff in histories like medieval ages where they really didn't like to leave any little scrap of surface a lot of the time without something on it, though, it is a bit plain. I've worn this every day for over 3 years, and just like the shoulder holster, these have never ever let me down. I work, I hike, I do parkour, I climb, all kinds of ninja shit, and these have never constricted me. These have never gotten in the way. These have never hung up on things. These have just even padded sometimes, like when I hit and bump onto things. This has been the difference between a lot of pain in one of those protruding bony parts and basically a minor owie. These things have never squished my guts. You just adjust them properly and they don't really cause any kind of discomfort or constriction. Let's see what else we got. One advantage too of having the extra 1/2 inch over the SB2 is it's a little bit more area and coverage for protection for whatever kinds of things that this will stop. As CEO Cold Steel Lynn Thompson always says, it's better than skin. Now, cool thing about this is I can just put it on and forget it. I don't even know if it's there or not. It causes that little disturbance. As you can see, I did have to carve an extra hole in here to tighten it up as I lost weight. I recommend getting these 2 or even 4 inches wider than what you would actually order your pants to account for having to sit down on a full meal without having been to the bathroom recently using a full-size pistol. You can always put more holes in them and adjust them tighter. They're more than sturdy enough to hold up, but you can't stretch the thing out. Let's see. You can also, this buckle, very easy to do, very easy to undo, never come undone on me, just always been old, good, reliable. Same thing on the SB2, real glad when I got that one on the advice of James Yeager. Thanks again, James, when you told me just Galco products work, you always give sound tactical advice. Go check out his channel and subscribe. Let's see, what else did I have on notes to say about this? I noticed too that going to a Galco SB2 helped my draw that I had learned on and been working on. It made it more consistent, more reliable, and a tad bit faster. And even this, it made a difference in my overall consistency and therefore the average time of my draw, which gives you a net faster average on the whole. Mostly by being more forgiving, less likely to mess up, and mess ups are less bad, and it's a lot easier just to do it right with one of these. Let's see. These things help for concealment, for printing, reducing any kind of discomfort. Let's see what else we got here to say. Both belts, 100% good to go out of the box. I didn't have to put anything on this to waterproof it or to loosen it or to stiffen it. They all broke in very nicely. Yeager was right. It just works. Let's see. One thing that's actually pretty cool with these is they work for any kinds of gear, not just guns. Although it's not designed for this, neither the belt nor the sword, I can stick that there and go about my day with a modicum of comfort. The shoulder holster gets in the way of the sword more than anything. You can adjust your height, tightness of the belt, whatever loop you want to put it through. Better than nothing. It works a lot better using a bow ken. With which I will demonstrate. Utilizing a sword design, more designed to actually be worn something like this, you can see good to go. I've gone about my day pretty happily like this for several days. You can still get the sword out right when you need it, ready to go. Put it back just as easily. Let's see. One drawback of being girt in all the leather, of using things like a leather holster with a leather belt, with a leather Leatherman on it, is by being girt in all this leather, there's a lot of creaking, a lot of cracking, a lot of little noise tells that people who are really in the know about spotting who's carrying and doing that kind of stuff, it's a little bit more of a giveaway. So if you're really into being the gray man and absolute camouflage, that would be a point to consider. A thing that is a pro with both of these belts, the SB2 and the Galco, is they don't scream tactical, they don't scream gun guy or Rambo. It's not like they're made of Cordura and Kydex with the big plastic clips or like the double things like some kind of the military gun belts. It just looks like, you know, a belt from Texas, son. And the SB2 just looks like a classy black business belt, both of which are just fashionable and cool to have as items in and of themselves, both of these belts will last you a lifetime. Let's see. I recommend both of them highly. They're just damn good belts. They look damn nice. I love them to death. So all that being said, don't use me as your own personal appeal to authority. This is all just my opinion with the knowledge and experience that I have. Remember, I'm no operator operating in operations. I'm no steely-eyed cowpoke. I'm just some guy. Peace.